Eventually I would be brought back to America and incarcerated. And I was in Houston for 2 years, and they put me, because of my charges, they put me in solitary confinement for 2 years with no human contact. Because sometimes people think about the hole in the modern hole. If you want to imagine it, it's the size of a large bathroom with a desk, a toilet with a sink that's attached stainless steel, a bunk, but you're alone, in a stainless steel shower with a window that's like very thin.
Yeah, I've seen.
It's actually like scratched out except for one little part, so you can see out and get some light. And people get some misunderstandings, and they oftentimes think like, "Oh, you went to lunch with other people." No, I didn't. It's a bean slot, and they give you don't come out. They say 23. Huh?
At all, nothing.
No, they call it 23 and 1, because 1 hour you can go to rec, but in the hole, rec is a cage that looks like a dog kennel cage on top of a building. So sometimes you don't even want to go out. For what? People say fresh air, get out of the cell. Once you get used to that thing, you don't want to go. So yeah, you had no human contact for 2 years. So
not even the guards.
No, because they're behind the. If you want to call shackling me up and bringing me to when you do cell rotation. Cell rotation is every 23 days, so you're not like clawing out like a hole in the wall. They do a cell rotation, But
so it's the cell that looks identical to what the cell that you're in.
Yeah, I mean, people like if it's a corner cell, sometimes it's bigger. So after 2 years. Or after a year and some change or whatever, you get used to knowing what's good. So you're like, yo, I like 101. That's the handicap cell, and there's no handicap guys, so because they need a wheelchair. You always want 101. And you see, that's how long I was in there, that I actually could tell you what cell is what. 101 is great. 123 was a corner cell that was pretty good. So it's the corner cells, sometimes they're bigger. And sometimes if it's one in the hallway, you're just looking at a wall, but sometimes you can see across to other cells and wave people down. And,
that's nuts to me, man.
Yeah.
2 years.
Yeah. No human contact.
So what would you get up to, man? Obviously you got your 5 salah. Did you allow to have a Quran in there or any books or any?
Books have to be paperback, ordered from the publisher. Right. And then you could, they had a book cart. So I read everything from, I never liked fiction.
Yeah.
But, in that situation.
You read everything, bro.
Fiction, give me fiction because it's sort of like watching TV.
Yeah. Did you have TV?
It's like, that's my veg.
Did you have TV at all?
No.
No TV?
So,
nothing?
They did give you little radios so you could listen to FM and you could order it on commissary. And my family sent me some money. So you could get like, it wasn't Doritos, but like similar chips like Doritos. And then you could get mints, peanut butter, saltine crackers, these little candy things. And it wasn't much at all, stamps and envelopes and stuff.
What kind
like
of food did you get? Like the food that they
give? I mean, Wednesdays was hamburger
halal?
Day.
Was it halal?
Yeah, you could get
kosher.
Common fare, which was like kosher.
Okay.
And then you had the regular ones, which was you could get no pork, regular one, and that's like hamburger day, chicken and all that. I got common fare, which is like kosher. And you just try to mix things up with commissary, but you just like, again, sometimes the greatest moments of your life in retrospect were you had the least because you gained the most closeness to Allah Ta'ala. It was the most soul-wrenching moments of my life because I just lost my wife and went through
the grieving
death.
process inside solitary confinement.
Yeah.
That's nuts,
you can't
man.
Imagine. Couldn't take a walk, couldn't talk to somebody, and then, besides my wife, a lot of my friends died. If you know the situation in which I went to prison for, I saw death. I saw enough death to appreciate life. I saw death at a massive scale. Massive. But the amount of violence that I've seen is a human being should not have to see. But alhamdulillah, Allah Ta'ala has kept my faculties. And, that's the first thing that I actually asked for.
Sorry, Daniel, to interrupt, bro. do you still suffer from any sort of anxiety or related to your incarceration, or like
Sometimes I wonder if it is, because I don't get the anxiety that some people talk about. Like they're really freaking out. They don't know where they
PTSD,
are,
that type of stuff. Yeah.
But like, I will say that without a doubt, it changed me. I know that. Like, I don't think it's just solitary confinement took some time to get over, because being around people was really difficult. Other prisoners, like I remember my mother saw me in a visit and she hugged me and I didn't like it. My own mother hugged me and I hated it. Like, just to have somebody touch me like that was too much. It was just kind of like, okay, he's back. That's how I felt. I didn't show that, but in my head, I'm like, okay, he's back.
So, bro, so I'm gonna ask you a lot of questions about this, because for me it's intriguing, yeah. Because so you went from solitary confinement, and that was what year was this? You're looking at 2008, something like that, right?
2007 to 2008.
Right. So you're by yourself, then you go into, I'm guessing it's called general population or gen pop, whatever it is, yeah?
Yep.
And this is in a supermax prison, right?
Yeah, it's like a supermax prison, high end. Like,
so what kind of prisoners do you get in there?
Usually, like, people that have been involved in very serious things. You know what I mean? Like, usually some sort of organized crime.
Right.
It doesn't always. It's not what people think. It doesn't mean it's like always like just guys that want to kill each other and all that.
Yeah.
It's usually like very high level, people involved in very organized things that they don't want them amongst too many codees.
So was there anyone like that we would know that you were like that was in that prison at that time?
Nah, not always. It's weird. It's like not everybody's always so famous, but I usually don't talk about that part because I don't know what guys, some of the guys that I know.
Oh, right. I see what you're saying. Yeah. Makes sense. Because
some people are weird about that. They're just like, I don't want no family knowing that I'm
No, of course. Yeah, that makes sense.
Some people, it's like high end. Like, they didn't want people to like know where they were or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's weird in those kinds of facilities. Like, a lot of the times, like, there's a lot more movement. When you're designated, you usually don't move. And there was a lot more movement.
When you say movement, what do you mean by that?
Like people would transfer.
Oh, I see. More. Right.
Usually when you're still there, man. Usually a regular prisoner, you're there. Like, unless you do something to get out, or you try to be close to your people, your family.
Yeah.
But now you sometimes see people come and go. It was really weird stuff. But the kind of charges that you get, to end up there, I guess that's, with, that situation.
So you sat down. So right, we say here in England, you sat down for how long in prison?
Altogether was like 9 years and some change, because I did get a lot of good time, because I made a promise to my children. I'm gonna stay out of trouble.
Yeah, alhamdulillah, good.
Try to see if I can navigate without fighting and stuff like that. Stay out of trouble, because to me, I'm like, I'm losing my kids.
Yeah.
Their mother died, and they lost their father to prison.
Yeah.
These kids need me, so that was a top priority.
Alhamdulillah. But, so you came out in 2014, roughly.
Yeah, I got out in 2015.
15, sorry. So we can smooth past this whole prison period, yeah, because like I said, it's another podcast. Maybe go and what's that guy that interviews mobsters, bro? What's his name? Pat something. I forgot his name, man. He's in America, the Iranian guy. He loves to interview, but for me, I'm more interested in, for example, now you've made your debt up to society, right? You've reformed yourself. You're coming out. What was it like leaving jail? So the actual getting processed, and that we watch a lot of American movies here. There's that whole thing that they let you out, and then someone comes and picks you up, right? And then you're kind of like, okay, you got your bag or your personal effects, and then
that was real.
Yeah. So just talk to us about just that bit, and then we can carry on with it. Now we get to the jiu-jitsu journey, your martial arts journey, and all that stuff.
Good part.
Yeah, the good part.
I got out actually very atypical. You know, like even actually looked very similar to the movies. It's kind of funny because there was a huge like they brought me down these hallways and hallways and hallways, and I've never been except for intake. I went down those hallways in intake,
Yeah.
and I didn't see them except for when I left.
That's nuts.
So you know, I have my bag and all that stuff. I got to wear my free world clothes, and you know, and I actually had met a sister while I was in prison, and we were talking through letters, and so we were actually intent on we'd get married when I got out.
Yeah.
So I was excited to see her on like Skype.
Yeah.
That was like, oh my God, like, you know, so that was a huge part too, to see my kids, see my family, see her on Skype because she was living overseas.
So Daniel, just a quick thing, yeah? So in that time you were in prison, Facebook came out, Twitter came out, Instagram came out. The whole world kind of changed, man, because it's like, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
How real is the kind of you know Shawshank Redemption when the guy comes out, that the old guy, and it's like he went in the 40s and
one of my favorite movies.
Yeah, amazing film, right? What was it as stark as that? You coming out and thinking, what the hell why is everyone on their phone and what's the smartphone?
Yeah.
Or did you that bad? Yeah.
It was weird. It was very strange because I knew, because we had a TV room, you could see TV.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
saw what's happening in the world, and you would even see COs in the bubble looking at their phones.
Right.
And I remember looking through the window like, yo, even on like TV, people doing this thing with their screen.
Yeah,
we didn't have touch screens when I was out. Like you could sit there and play a movie on your phone, play video games that looked like real video games. You could sit there and make camera calls and legitimately a good picture. Like what is going? Man, like that was just wild to us, you know. And when I got out, it was just, it was weird, you know. Like I remember being ready, and then the huge like lift came up, you know, just this enormous like thing because it's, you know, trucks are supposed to be able to go through.
Oh, so you came out the cargo bay?
Yeah, kind of. And I remember they had to bring me through there for whatever reason. I don't know. Then again, maybe they do it with everybody. I don't know. But there was a reason. I think I remember them saying, like, we have to, something's being done. Or, I don't know if it's construction or washing. So I went through there, I had my bags, and my sister was picking me up. And as it went up, I saw their feet. And I seen them.
Nuts, man.
I told the brothers, if you guys see me, you know, on the side, there's a window where you can kind of see. Guys bang on the window as hard as possible. But I used to tell them, I said, I don't care, man. I'm making sujud shukr right in front of everybody. I don't care who's there, what they're doing, what's happening. Man, the second I got out on the street, I made sujud shukr on the street, on the ground, on the road where everybody's driving on. I was like, man, I'm dropping, man. I gotta thank Allah Ta'ala. And I just remember hearing those windows. Boom, boom, boom. And my sister.
And this was in Texas?
No, this was actually in New York.
Okay. Right.
Yeah. So, because I got transferred after the Texas deal.
Right,
I actually became the imam of the prison and everything. You know, so but that's another story. So I was the imam. So I was giving the khutbah every Friday and stuff. But I remember going to my sister had brought me in the middle of the city, New York City. We went to New York City, and I remember walking down the street, and even on the sidewalk, the car zoop. I'm like, whoa. Just
everything's moving fast. Yeah,
everything's moving fast. And being in prison, everything's always so close. Walls are so close. So to see down the street so far after that long time, because you got to remember 2 years solitary confinement, and then like being where walls were never so far off. So it was just like, wow, to look down an endless street was really
crazy,
weird.
Man.
And to be around people was weird too, because, you know, when you're locked up, it's dangerous. You know, like dudes fight real easy. Everything's about self-respect and, you know, like, you know, don't just talk to me anyway. So it's like to have people like walk right up on you, like wait in line right behind you. You kind of feel like, bro, you good? Like, you know, like you always had like, I had to, that even now is difficult. Like people, how they talk to you. Because people like, everybody in prison is coarse.
Yeah.
And I actually, believe it or not, I'm always checking. I'm always trying not to understand this. Anybody that talks to me know that I'm always in a constant struggle to be polite. Because in prison, usually it's like people just talking, be like, yo, bro, like, you for real? Seriously? Man, you crazy. And that's your friend. You talk to them like that. Like, everything's just coarse, just rugged. Very coarse way to talk to people. But strangely enough, unbeknownst to most people, you are very respectful at a certain level. Like, you can joke and you can talk coarse, but you don't disrespect a man. You respect his property, you respect his space, you talk to him a certain way, because it will lead to a fight most of the time. So coming out, it's always difficult how people just talk to people any way they want, like without fear of consequence. That was very difficult for me to calibrate. Even now, sometimes
it's worse now, isn't it?
Yeah, because it's like people get real lippy, and I'm like,
Twitter fingers.
You know, you're gonna talk like that to me?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying I'm a violent person, but it's like, wow, you just talk like that with no fear of repercussions, huh? And but you got to keep it inward. Just like, it's not a problem. Just chill. You can't do that. You can't live like that. Just walk away, because in prison you can't. You let somebody talk to you the wrong way.
Yeah.
You walk away, you're a chump, and now everybody's looking at you like they can talk to you like that. So you're gonna have a bigger problem by letting it slide than if you didn't. And you think, like, I would just let it slide. I don't want to. Believe it or not, it's a different world. You can't, unless you want. By getting into one fight, you reduced 100 fights.
Yes.
And it's a sad truth. So you youngsters watching this, don't go to prison. Trust me. Everybody thinks it's all cool until, the only, and we'll move on from any other subject, but just to describe it, if anybody dealt with that situation where, like, you were about to get into a fight or something really horrible, or even if you were really younger and you got in trouble and you got to talk to your mom and dad later, or like there's this kid you're going to fight later, or your big brother's about to whoop you. You remember that anxiety, that tension, that awful feeling of the cops are looking for you, that really bad feeling something bad's about to happen, and you're on the precipice of it. That's every day in prison. That's what you feel every day until it becomes a norm. You wake up scrapping up.
It's a heightened sense of anxiety, basically. It's fight or flight. Like, you're just at the edge.
Yeah, every day. And then to explain time, minutes move like years and years move like minutes. And if you want to really know what living in the hell of prison is like, have you ever been somewhere where you look at a clock and you're like, I won't look at the clock. I'm not going to look at the clock. When I look at it again, we'll be 2 hours into going home.
It's like school.
It's
like school. If you're in a maths lesson that you hate, and then it's an hour, but it's actually 4 hours in your head. Yeah. And
imagine this. That's every day. Imagine, if you want to know what that does to your soul, that tension of fights and violence and trouble, and then the clock moving slow. And I remember Michael Folcott in his book, Punish and Discipline, when he was explaining the Quaker method to solitary confinement. And he quoted somebody who visited somebody in solitary. He said, I see your cell is nothing but a horrible sepulcher, whereas rather than worms, time gnaws away at you, hell in anticipation. And that's prison.